Welcome back to Meghan and Harry Tales, the podcast that cuts through the noise, exposes the bias and defends the truth when it comes to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. I'm your host, Adrian, and today we're calling out author and commentator Douglas Murray, who has joined the long list of right-wing royal defenders using King Charles's illness as a stage to attack Prince Harry. In a recent Sky News interview with Rita Panahi, another predictable anti-Sussex voice, Murray asked the loaded question, can Harry be trusted? Well, buckle up, because we're about to flip that question on its head. The trust question is echoing through the hallowed halls of media commentary. Can Harry be trusted? Asks Douglas Murray, his words sharp, aimed squarely at the Duke of Sussex. Murray suggests a deep-seated untrustworthiness, a fatal flaw in Harry's character. He paints a picture of a prince who has betrayed the ultimate confidence. The implication is clear. Harry is a loose cannon, a liability to the ancient institution he was born into. This narrative serves a specific agenda, one that seeks to isolate the Sussexes further. The aim seems to be the systematic dismantling of Harry and Meghan's credibility. If they cannot be trusted, then their revelations, their experiences, their very reality can be dismissed. Murray's piece is merely the latest volley in this ongoing war of narratives. The question of trust, it seems, is a two-way street, and one that deserves a far more balanced examination than Murray offers. Douglas Murray posits a specific practical reason for the royal family's supposed inability to reconcile with Prince Harry. He argues that they cannot risk intimacy or forgiveness because Harry might simply turn around and sell the details of any private conversation. The fear, as Murray frames it, is that Harry views every interaction as potential content for his next book, his next interview, his next Netflix special. This portrayal, however, conveniently overlooks the context of Harry's past disclosures. His decision to speak out, particularly in the Oprah interview and his memoir, was not a sudden whim. It came after years of what he described as private pleas for help being ignored or dismissed. The leaks, if one must call them that, were acts of desperation. A final attempt to be heard when all other avenues had seemingly failed. To cast him now as someone perpetually poised to betray confidences for profit is to ignore the profound distress that led him to speak in the first place. The irony, of course, is that the royal family and its courtiers are masters of the strategic leak. This intricate dance between the monarchy and the media is a game of power and control, one that Harry himself experienced from the inside and ultimately rejected. Was his decision to publish spare explosive? Undoubtedly. If the primary concern is indeed the reputation and integrity of the royal family, then the case of Prince Andrew throws a glaring spotlight on the institution's double standards. The accusations against Prince Andrew concerning his association with Jeffrey Epstein and allegations of sexual assault are of an entirely different magnitude than Harry's decision to speak his truth. Yet, the institutional response has often felt disproportionate. Andrew, despite the gravity of the claims and a disastrous television interview, has largely been shielded, his public appearances managed. The palace's handling of the Prince Andrew affair has been a masterclass in damage control. Contrast this with the treatment of Prince Harry. His crime was to articulate his pain and challenge the status quo. For this he is branded untrustworthy, a pariah. The intense focus on Harry's trustworthiness, especially when juxtaposed with the Andrew situation, feels less like a genuine concern for propriety and more like a strategic move to discredit a voice that dared to expose the cracks in the facade. Section 4. A House of Secrets. Can the monarchy itself be trusted? Perhaps Douglas Murray is asking the wrong question. Instead of can Harry be trusted, a more pertinent inquiry might be, can the monarchy and its allied media be trusted? The House of Windsor, for all its pomp and pageantry, has long been a fortress of secrets. Transparency has never been its strong suit. The narrative presented to the public is meticulously managed. This reliance on opacity makes it difficult for the public to form a truly informed opinion. The British monarchy has historically maintained a complex relationship with the press. There's an unwritten pact access in exchange for favourable coverage. This intricate game of leaks and counter-leaks means that the information the public receives is often filtered. When an institution operates with such secrecy, it raises questions about its own trustworthiness. Harry's revelations suggest a system that's not always honest with the public or its own members. Section 5. Echoes in the Palace, Harry's painful truths unveiled. The core of Prince Harry's public statements, and indeed his memoir, Spare, was not merely a litany of personal complaints. It was an exposure of deeply troubling issues he witnessed and experienced within the royal fold. One of the most damaging and persistent claims revolved around racism. The alleged conversation about the skin colour of his then unborn child, Archie, sent shockwaves globally. Beyond the issue of race, Harry detailed a pervasive culture of neglect, particularly concerning his wife Meghan's mental health struggles. He described her pleas for help being met with indifference or institutional paralysis, fearing the optics of seeking professional treatment. For a family that champions mental health causes publicly, this alleged private failing was a stark example of hypocrisy, a painful disconnect between their words and their actions behind palace gates. Harry's truths are uncomfortable because they demand introspection and change from an institution famously resistant to both. His words echo in the palace corridors, whether acknowledged or not. Section 6. The Gilded Cage: Control, Conformity and the Cost of Silence. Life within the royal family has always been a delicate balance between privilege and profound constraint. The theme of control is central to its very existence. From birth, royals are moulded, guided and expected to conform to a strict set of protocols and unwritten rules. Individuality, especially when it veers from the prescribed path, is often viewed with suspicion, even hostility. The Gilded Cage is an apt metaphor, a life of immense material comfort, yet one where personal freedom and authentic self-expression are severely curtailed in the name of duty and institutional preservation. This pressure to conform is immense. In such an environment, trust is often a one-way street. The institution demands unwavering loyalty and discretion from its members. Silence in the face of personal suffering or injustice is frequently equated with this loyalty. Section 7. Beyond the Balcony, Harry and Meghan's new chapter of impact. Now, far from the restrictive protocols of palace balconies, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are forging a new path. Their departure, while tumultuous and endlessly debated, has undeniably granted them a freedom they clearly craved. This freedom is not just personal. It extends to their ability to champion causes and speak on issues with a directness and passion that was often constrained by the apolitical and carefully neutral stance required of senior working royals. Through their Arkewell Foundation and other ventures, they are actively engaging with a range of issues, from mental health awareness and ethical media practices to gender equality and support for veterans. The Invictus Games, Harry's enduring passion project, continues to thrive, offering a powerful platform for wounded service members. While their endeavours are constantly scrutinised, often through a critical lens, they are undeniably building a portfolio of work that reflects their personal values and priorities. This is a different model of public service, one that operates outside the traditional royal framework, leveraging their global platform in new ways. This new chapter allows them to build a life and a public presence on their own terms. They can choose their projects, their partners, and their messaging without seeking approval from a complex hierarchy of courtiers and family members. So let's not fall for the media's lazy framing. Harry isn't missing. He's liberated. He's living a life of purpose, raising his children in peace and using his platform to create change. And Meghan? She continues to rise, with grace, intelligence and integrity despite the noise. Douglas Murray can ask all the questions he wants, but the truth remains, Harry and Meghan are free because they broke the cycle, and the system can't forgive them for that. Thanks for tuning in to Meghan and Harry Tales. If you're tired of the bias, if you're here for truth, and if you stand with the Sussexes, make sure you hit that subscribe button, share this episode, and leave us a review. Until next time, keep calling out the spin and standing by the truth.